morning, Singapore, and welcome to Therapy Tuesday with the one and only award-winning psychologist from the therapy room, Dr. Geraldine Tan.
Sounds like she's about to go into a fight.
Yeah.
You must the ring, right? And then I can do some.
I sounded like Howard Cosell.
Very close, very close. So, Jerry, this morning we're talking about borderline personality disorder. So basically, we're talking about Glenn.
Hey,
Yes.
No name calling.
Glenn.
Yeah,
Glenn.
this is-
Unless you've been diagnosed. Have you?
by Dr. Jerry.
Yeah.
No,
How
I'm
dare
still,
you question
I'm
it?
still waiting to see her.
Dr. Jerry?
No, so it's not about Glenn. I thought we spoke about this disorder already, but I realized when I looked at my notes, we didn't really speak about this disorder. So I thought I wanted to speak, just shed some light on this particular disorder, which is quite a troublesome disorder, both for the client as well as the people around them.
So what is it then?
Well, so borderline personality disorder, you would see them having a lot of issues with relationships. So they are in relationships, they're out of relationships. They are very functional in all other aspects. They seem to be very empathetic, and then they're not empathetic at all. They have very dysregulated, many of them have very dysregulated emotions.
What does dysregulated mean?
Dysregulated, that means very unstable emotions, and they swing from one end of the spectrum to another end of the spectrum. So you would see some of them being very clingy to you. So when they are your friends, if they were your friend, they would cling on to you. They're almost very obsessive. They're in your every aspect of your life. And then when you say you need some distance, they take offense to it, and they get very angry with you. They say, "Oh, but I try so hard. Why are you rejecting me?"
I feel like Glenn and we're looking at each other like, is it us? Oh no, I kind of like that. No, I mean, like, I don't get upset when people don't want to hang out with me, but I think I'm very clear about, I try to match energy now, because I am a very emotional, sensitive person. So does that put me on the spectrum of personality
I feel like it's
disorder?
me also.
So Glenn and I look at each other like, is it?
No. Everybody has
evil
some
now.
traits of different things, right? So remember, a disorder causes dysfunction. And you would realize that your relationships are dysfunctional, and you would pull too close or you pull away, and you cannot keep your relationships, or you cannot function, in the workplace, perhaps, because you have so much issues with your relationships. There is self-image issues also. That means your self-esteem, your self-confidence is really, really at the rock bottom.
So it's definitely not Glenn then.
Yeah,
no,
that
it's
means-
not
okay,
him.
there,
Yeah.
okay.
Like,
Yeah,
still
he has
me.
no self-esteem issues at all. So he might be dysfunctional, but he has no self-esteem issues.
But Jerry got to book an appointment, I think.
One of the signs and symptoms will be also the self-injurious part, where when they swing and they dysregulate, they get very harmful towards themselves. So they not only obsess about the other person, they not only kind of stick to the other person or the people around them, but when they dysregulate, they also hurt themselves.
So,
And
Jerry,
they can hurt themselves in a variety of ways. Yes.
so this means there must be a lot of people suffering from BPD because there are so many kids these days that do this self-harm thing.
What is BPD?
Borderline personality disorder.
This is what we're talking about.
Yes.
Correct.
Because so many kids are involved in self-harm these days.
But that could stem from a lot of other disorders,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Yeah, it could be a variety of things. It's not just BPD that causes it. But one of the signs and symptoms, one of the symptoms of BPD is they tend to self-harm in a variety of ways, especially when they feel that they are rejected, when they feel that they are not getting what they need. They might hurt themselves.
Okay.
You know, when you said BPD, I was thinking like BPD is happy birthday. You know, short form.
HBD. That's
BPD.
Oh
HBD.
my god!
Yeah, that's
Glenn has
correct.
left the building.
Glenn is also dyslexic
I've messed
today.
up so many times.
You're
Happy
dyslexic.
birthday. There was one time I keyed in HDB.
Why can't
Oh,
people just
boy.
spell it out? It's
Exactly.
not that long. My goodness.
Yeah, sometimes you just want to be cool. You know,
No,
everybody's
it's not that
it's like,
cool.
get well soon.
no,
Is it
GWS.
I know it's not. No, it's not cool.
Yeah. Okay. Anyway, let's continue to talk to Jerry on the Big Show TV. Here's Charlie XCX with Speed Drive on Kiss 92.
Okay, HDB, right?
So Jerry,
no,
what
no HBB in it.
No HDB.
what sort of self harms should we be looking at?
Well, a little bit more about the signs and symptoms, right? Because we're looking at the gravity of the situation. So many of them, they have this fear of abandonment, and it can be in their head. That means they imagine it. So it can be real, it can be imagined. But imagine this, if we think about this, right? They imagine that someone is going to reject them. So they come closer to the person. The person feels uncomfortable, pulls away. Now it becomes real. So it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. They react to it also, and then they start getting more and more upset about the whole thing. So the rejection becomes even more intense. They tend to say that they are very adaptable because they're the yes people. I will be whatever people want me to be. So they start to change themselves, and then they believe that they work very hard for it, and they don't know why people don't accept them. And it could be very risky and impulsive behaviors that they engage in. So that's the self-harm part that we can go into. A lot of them have suicidal ideations, suicidal attempts. So these are the more dangerous ones. They tend to feel quite empty. So no matter what people do, because they don't feel secure themselves, they feel very, very empty.
You mentioned earlier that sometimes it's in their head. Isn't that the last thing you should sort of tell people who may have
No,
an
it's
issue?
imagined. So it's not in a bad way in their head, but they think that the other person is rejecting them when there is no rejection at all. Yeah. So they perceive it, and they start reading for like signs that people are rejecting them,
And then they create like a
accuse
self-fulfilling,
themselves.
yeah.
Is that almost like
Correct.
schizophrenic?
No, they're not
Schizophrenia
schizophrenic
is
at
different.
all.
Is it bipolar? Is it close to bipolar?
It can comorbid with bipolar.
Okay.
Yes, it can, but it is totally different disorders altogether.
Okay.
Is it psychosis? Like the movie
not
Psycho?
Glenn's just
Not
making shit up now.
But is it something you're born with, or is it something that you accumulate, or something that you that someone
Occurs.
kind of they kind of create it in their own mind, and in that, is it something that can be cured per se, or
Cured,
like
right?
being
Or to be managed, right? Yes. So many times when we work with BPD clients, we realize that it comes from the attachment styles. So attachment styles that we talk about parenting styles. We talk about how close they are with the parents. Attachment styles is when is there a space for the child to be who they are, and how the adult respond to them. So sometimes, what we want to achieve for attachment styles is actually secure attachment. So there are 4 different types. Secure attachment. Secure attachment gives the person or the child a safe space to be in. It helps them to know that they can deal with conflicts in a very healthy manner. Then there are three other different styles. There's the ambivalent, so anxious, preoccupied, avoidant, dismissive, as well as the disorganized, chaotic attachment. So these three other types are insecure attachment styles. Now, these are the ones that we want to explore to find out what causes them. So the anxious, preoccupied one, or anxious attachment, lacking self-esteem, they worry that people don't want to be with them, and they crave that emotional intimacy. So it could be due to the parenting style of the in the past of their primary caregiver that is unavailable for them. So they are not available, and then sometimes they are also available. So this person gets very confused whether the parent or the primary caregiver is there or not there. So
it's totally
I
not.
feel confused for all
it's-
the confused people.
But it's totally not the person who has the bipolar disorder's fault. Then it's a combination
Not
of
bipolar.
Wait,
sorry, not bipolar.
borderline
Borderline
you
personality
confused
disorder.
me there
Yeah.
for a while.
So it's kind of like also due to somebody else, an external factor of a person.
it
Okay,
could
Chop.
be, yes.
Yeah.
We'll go on air and do this.
Okay.
Angel will ask you the question again. Welcome back to The Big Show and The Big Show TV. Our guest for this morning is Dr. Geraldine Tan from the Therapy Room. And early on, we heard from Charlie Puth, We Don't Talk Anymore. That song he wrote for Daphne.
I knew it was gonna come back to me somehow.
Charlie Puth is not talking to Daphne Koo anymore.
It's
What's
fine
happening?
though. It's fine.
And he
Let's talk. I'm more worried that I have BPD. Let's talk more about
You
that.
don't have BPD.
But
I
I just want to tell everyone also that this coming Thursday will be Daphne's last show with us.
Yes.
Officially.
Yeah.
Gosh.
I'm so sad. I'm so
Oh,
sad.
we're really sad as well.
But hey, you're off to Japan on Friday.
I am.
Yeah. But the situation is still not as sad as Charlie Puth not
That's
wanting
it.
to talk to you
Oh,
anymore.
it's okay. It's okay. I still care for him. The people that I love and care about, I will never stop. But, when he reaches out, then he reaches out. If it's never, it's fine too.
You want me to hammer him? I'll hammer him for you next time.
No hate, no hate.
Again.
Okay.
Borderline
But
personality.
yes, which is exactly what we're talking about. I think we got a stereotypical case sitting right
If you're
next
my
to me.
friend and people are bad to you, you want
oh
me
my
to hammer them, I will hammer them for you.
I think that's just being
Okay.
a good friend.
See, that was Glenn calm about 2 minutes ago, and now he's super angry. So is that, Dr. Jerry, borderline personality disorder? Or is Glenn suffering from BPD?
He's not. He's
No.
not.
Is that something someone can get diagnosed? Can they go somewhere to get?
yes,
Yeah.
they can.
Okay.
But usually it's a series of questions. We find out they would kind of guess it because they have very difficult relationships. So they find that they would make or they would have intimate relationships and then break off, and intimate relationships and break off. So
How about
it's
no
very
intimate relationships? How about
Men.
subpar?
and
Are you
acquaintance?
trying to get diagnosed with BPD?
I just want to know. Maybe there's the thing is that I have a lot of friends that they're trying to not they're trying, but a lot of them claim to. A lot of people do self-diagnose ADHD, right? They just go like, "Oh, I got ADHD." Like the whole world. Yes, we're all very distracted because there's a lot in the world, but that doesn't mean you have ADHD. But a lot of them that have gotten diagnosed feel like it's helped them a lot, because it helps them understand the world better.
So you're trying to find a diagnosis so it explains everything else.
Actually, it's good.
My life.
Her last session with Dr.
Yeah.
Geraldine.
No.
Okay,
But you know
true.
what? I can actually go for a session with Dr.
No,
Geraldine.
you're not
No, she
allowed.
won't. She
You're
won't
not
let you.
Cannot.
I've been trying for 10,000
Yeah.
years.
No, but I'm gonna be off the show.
No, you're
No.
not
I'm gonna be
allowed.
off the.
She knows you.
She already knows you.
But she can.
No.
She can recommend. I can still go to therapy room.
Can.
Jerry, I do have a
Yes,
question.
yes.
We've been talking about
Yes.
this from an emotional angle. Is there a
Yes.
physical angle? Like Prashad said, there can be physical symptoms. Headaches, stomach aches, chest pains.
Prashant or Prashant?
Prashant. Headaches, stomach aches, chest pains, that sort of thing. Is there a physical side to all of this?
So if we look at the BPD itself. It's more relational. It's more self-esteem. It's more the emotional part. You're absolutely right. However, it can comorbid, and typically it comes with other disorders also. So it comes with primarily your depression. So a lot of them have depression. A number of them have anxiety. So it can come with BPD plus depression. Yes, and that's where your psychosomatic symptoms surface. Your headaches, your stomach aches, your lethargy, perhaps. So yes, but
Okay.
BPD itself doesn't come with a host of physical issue. It comes with relational issues.
So I have a question. In terms
Yes.
of that, when you say that it's very hard for people with BPD to have relationships, do you mean that
Yes.
it's very hard for them to have healthy, communicative relationships in
Correct,
general? Okay, like
correct.
that I'm okay. I mean, I'm
Correct.
just checking also,
Yeah.
but
Daphne is not in a relationship right now.
no. But I have friendships and
Yeah.
I have relationships with my family that are, everyone is a little bit dysfunctional, but we still, but I do know some people that just have a hard time with other people. Like I have a difficult time talking to some people, but for the most part,
Correct.
I can converse, I can love in a healthy way my friends and my family. And I feel like if you can find your way there, I guess that is my question, then does that mean that you're out of the BPD woods, yeah, I guess, so to speak?
I guess all of us have a little bit of the different traits, but this one is really extreme. Just now you were mentioning about, not being able to connect with people at all. There's another category. So the avoidant dismissive attachment style.
So many
where-
subcategories,
Yeah.
man. My
I mean,
goodness.
we're all a little bit messed up.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
You know what I
Life
mean?
is not a walk in the park.
It's not as straightforward. It's not as
Dr. Jerry,
straightforward.
we're
So
all
don't go-
dysfunctional. We all need to come sit on your couch. We need to do a group session.
We are doing group session
That's true.
every Tuesday, and that's what we are here for.
That's very
To
true.
let people know and to let them know that they are not alone in this.
Good save.
Okay. We all need to see someone like Dr.
love
Jerry to
that.
find out exactly how messed up we
Yeah,
are.
see?
Okay, let's continue to talk to
No,
Jerry
no.
on The Big Show. All right, it is 8:19.
You mean the Big Show?
The Big Show TV, sorry.
What did you say?
I
The
thought
Big Show.
Oh.
Okay, yes.
Yeah. Yep.
So what do we do,
definitely
Dr. Jerry?
right? Like,
my question, yeah.
we haven't finished. Yeah, we haven't finished the 4 different types of stuff.
Attachment styles. But what you're saying
Yeah.
is, just to bring it back to what attachment styles and BPD. So you're saying that a lot of the function of BPD comes from attachment styles.
It could be
Parental
we do
or-
see a large number of them having difficulty, and if you hear the insecure attachment style. So earlier we talked about the anxious attachment, where it is caused by a
Anxious
primary
avoidant,
caregiver
right?
that blows hot and cold, and that's when they don't know whether they can rely on the primary caregiver. And then if we talk about the avoidant dismissive, then it is stemming from a primary caregiver that is very rejecting. So the child learns, I don't need to bother about anyone. I don't need to rely on anyone. I just depend on myself. So they cannot engage with another person or believe that another person can be relied upon and have intimate relationship. The last one is disorganized attachment. So the primary caregiver can be very bizarre themselves because they have trauma themselves, and they dare not attach to anyone. So they don't attach to their children, or it is very confusing. So there's a lot of disorientation from the primary caregiver to the child. Or it could be a lot of abuse to the child. And they are very fearful, avoidant, because they don't know what that attachment can bring for them. Yeah, so they often this category would feel I'm a nothing.
They'd rather avoid it altogether.
Right. And rape victims tend to fall into this category also. Trauma victims tend to fall into this category also.
I just wanted to say for everyone watching now, I mean, for maybe people don't think about this as much, but as someone that has thankfully been through a decent amount of therapy, and I don't think there's ever a correct amount, like everyone should be going
You've
to therapy.
been to therapy session.
I've had a few therapists. Because I move around so much, so I try to find one wherever I live. But I just want to point out that because a lot of the kids these days, I mean, we're talking about, you know, your primary caregiver growing up, because a lot of what you experience in your childhood carries on to how you react or what kind of personality you have as an adult. But a lot of kids, especially in Singapore, are brought up by their helpers. And so if any parents are listening, if you don't spend a majority of your time and your life with your kid, there's nothing wrong with dual income families. I grew up in a dual income family, but my parents, you know, tried to make time to make sure that they knew us, like our personalities growing up, and talked to us and had conversations with us. But I do know a lot of parents that allow the helper to do that. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that, but just be really sure who is taking care of your kids, because that eventually will lead to what kind of personality they have. And this is like your human being that you made.
And the values as well. I think it's also a lot to do with the values, right?
And I'm very lucky. Like our helper has been with us for almost 30 years. Like I've known her since I was 8 years old. Like I've grown up with her. She's part of my family now. And so my sister's kids, she's bringing them up, but we see them all the time, and we know what kind of, like, we know that we want them to feel safe all the time. But that's not always a given for every helper. So,
Wait, so are you saying that you were also kind of, I mean, very close to your helper?
I am very
growing
close
up?
to my helper, but I mean, before she came along, I was like, I had 8 whole years where there were other types of things. And I can see, like, with what Dr. Geraldine Tan is saying, like, how the primary caregiver holds such a huge place in how I react to things as I'm growing up. And I'm reading this book called How to Do the Work, and a lot of it has to do with, like, figuring out and understanding what created traumas for you in the past. And they might be little cuts, you know, little emotional cuts that you don't think do or mean anything, but then slowly you see it coming out as you interact with the world as an adult, you know. And so a lot of what I don't understand when I do things that I'm like, that wasn't me. Like, why would I do that? And a lot of it comes from these little cuts that I had as a kid, you know. So anyway, I just wanted to interject that, because I do feel like people forget that their kids spend a majority of their time with their helper.
Jerry, sometimes when you have a client come and see you, right? Sometimes for an hour, does the client keep on talking? As in, like, no, because sometimes it's like that. Because you need to let it out, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Download. So they need to download. But if you see what Angel is doing, Angel is going, and then, you know, FD and yourself, you're nodding your head. So there still is interaction. It's not zero interaction. But
I'm just trying to picture situation, because sometimes if you really have a lot you want to let off your chest.
Yes,
actually, that's really funny, because I imagined what therapy would be like before I went for therapy, and it's like, oh, you know, for every interaction I have, I'm too paise to really just talk about myself. But when I go in, I'm like, oh, I'm paying you, so I should just be able to talk for 1 hour. But yeah, that's not what happens.
No. But yes, thanks, Daphne, for highlighting that. So primary caregiver is not only the parent. That's why we mentioned it as primary caregiver. It can be the helper. It can be the grandparent. It can be a nanny. It can also be a very trusted friend, auntie, teacher. Yeah, someone that is consistent in their lives.
Consistency is key, isn't it? Because you need some stability.
So.
No, but the problem is when the consistency is with the wrong people. Then I think, you know.
But it's hard to say what's wrong and what's right, you know, because it works for different people, and they need that extra help.
Yeah, so when the person or the child starts to regulate themselves, they find a variety of ways, and we call that coping mechanism. So you and I have coping mechanisms also, but some of these coping mechanisms can be quite dysfunctional or quite harmful. So that's when we know the classic cutting. So we actually look out for the cutting behavior. Sometimes it's not cutting behavior. Sometimes they punch walls until their knuckles are all bruised and broken. Sometimes it could be smoking.
Substance
Using
abuse as well?
substances.
Like
Yes,
drinking,
all the different
alcoholism.
substances. Correct. Reckless behaviors, like all the thrilling sort of behaviors, very dangerous
Tattoos?
behaviors.
Could they be? I mean, like, no,
tattoos
constant needing to go out and get a tattoo as a child. I'm talking about.
Oh, even as an
It's
adult.
illegal.
It's what?
It's illegal as a child to get a tattoo.
You know what I mean?
But no, but even as an adult, there are adults who do it.
Oh,
Is
yeah,
that
yeah,
considered
yeah.
also a coping mechanism?
It does if you do it excessively,
Excessively,
right? And then,
Yeah.
so anything excessive is really not good. Unsafe
Look at FD.
sex.
FD. I pissed him off. He went out to get his Avengers tattoo.
Because he
After
wants
that.
to avenge.
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Now he's got an Avengers tattoo here.
Don't think that one was because
Okay.
you pissed me off.
Oh, is
But,
it?
yeah. Anyway.
Okay.
Okay,
Go ahead, Cherry,
no,
go ahead.
and I was saying unsafe sex or promiscuity. Yeah. So sometimes we do have some of the clients with BPD, and it's not uncommon to hear that they have slept with the entire office. And then, they're done with this office, they up and go, they go
Oh,
to another
wow.
office and sleep with another office.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah.
You see, now
Yeah,
BPD
and
sounds
from-
like an STD now.
Yes.
Stop it.
Glenn.
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 Sorry.
It's a real issue.
Yeah. And they feel cheap, they feel dirty, but they cannot stop themselves, right? And
Yeah.
so we know that it is a self-injurious behavior.
Okay.
Picking on
When-
your skin.
Yeah.
Oh, let's talk about
Let's
that.
go on.
We
on
go back
air.
and finish this off because I've got one more question that I need to
Wow,
ask
she didn't
Jerry,
even
so-
finish
No,
explaining.
when she's
Wait,
finished.
okay.
Good morning and welcome back to the Big Show and the Big Show TV. I feel like we're all jumping on Jerry this morning.
Yes, I feel
it's
we have lots of
okay.
questions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I think
It's okay.
Jerry, just tell us once again, what we're talking about today, and
Okay.
the four things you wanted to talk about with regard to what we're talking about today.
Four things. No, there's no four things.
Yeah,
BPD. We're talking about
okay.
BPD, right? Yeah, and BPD is that mental health disorder, and it is a disorder that affects how you relate to people, how you see yourself, and how you function in the world. And it is quite detrimental sometimes. You can hurt yourself quite badly. Now, what it might be caused by, it could be caused by your attachment style. So there's secure attachment styles and there's insecure attachment styles. So insecure attachment styles, there is the anxious attachment. There is the disorganized attachment, as well as the dismissive attachment styles, avoidant dismissive attachment styles. So these are the insecure attachment styles which may have some influence on your BPD. And for many of these people that suffer from BPD, they have self-injurious behavior. So that was what we were talking about.
And
Also.
what's BPD again?
Borderline personality disorder. Yeah. So you were saying,
Yes.
just as we were on the Big Show TV coming back on air, you were saying that
Yeah.
certain things, like sometimes it's cutting, but not always cutting. It could be like punching walls, bruises on your hand. It could even be like picking on your fingers. I know actually a lot of people with anxiety that do that.
Yes.
But
Yes.
I mean, the
Yes.
signs, I guess, are there. And I know FD had a question, but
Yes.
I also want to know, what can we do for our friends that we love that kind of show this kind of behavior? What's the best way to show them love? Yeah. Was that your question?
Okay. Yes. So I've ABC. So one is we attend to them, because sometimes it's very, very difficult to attend to them. So they can present different things. We know the cutting. There's also overeating, undereating, excessive exercising also. It could be, I want to say this for many of the young ones, doom scrolling, just scrolling about like negative, dreadful stuff. Oh, and it just links from one thing to another thing to another thing. So doom scrolling is a real issue.
Yeah.
Yeah, doom scrolling.
Y'all never heard of doom
It's a
scrolling?
real
No.
thing.
No.
You literally scroll and you realize you have no control anymore. You're just scrolling. That's doom scrolling.
FD.
That's FD on TikTok. Yeah.
No lah. Once he's done pooping, he stops. What? Right?
No, no.
Oh, gross.
No? When do you doom scroll,
Okay.
FD?
Okay, anyway, Dr. Jerry.
Yes, but what can we do, right? So if we think, FD is doom scrolling, we attend to him and say, "What's wrong, FD? Can I be there for you?"
Okay.
And we can always have him read different articles, I suppose. We send him and flood him with different articles. But as a friend, I want you to also put in boundaries. So remember that the one with BPD might not know boundaries. They don't know how to set their own boundaries. So we who are around them need to help them to set a healthy boundary. And to be consistent. Why consistent? Because they don't know how to read that setting of boundaries. They may take it as a rejection. They don't know that it is for their own good. So they may be angry, they may be upset, they may be rejecting, they may even want to stalk you. So it can get quite scary. Not everybody can manage their own emotions with dealing with someone with BPD. And don't get us wrong, even the therapist also gets stalked sometimes. So we get calls, we get people waiting outside our door or lobby. And if we don't manage it, sometimes we say, "Oh, how can you do that? You're uncaring, you're unfeeling." We get that too. So especially a friend, you might hear all these, but I need us to be consistent. That I will be there when you need me, just not now.
Oh, no.
It sounds like these
ABC.
people. It sounds like these people. What did you just say? ABC.
Yes.
What's ABC again?
Attend and then create boundaries and then consistency.
Consistency.
Well, there's BPD, ABC.
HDB.
BBD.
Okay, I've got a question to ask Jerry on the Big Show TV. It is 8:35. Up next, Taylor Swift. Is it over now? Hello. Okay. And I forgot what I wanted to ask you.
Okay, that's okay.
It'll come back. You know
It'll
what?
come back.
Oh my goodness.
That's his BPD acting up.
No,
Jerry-
that's not
No.
BPD.
Okay. I got it. So the BPD people, right? You were saying
BPD people.
you were saying some of them like want to cut themselves and all that, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so if it's come to that, right? Don't you think that they probably need medication?
Yes, so when they come to us, if it's very severe and they have a lot of other comorbids, we would generally have them see a psychiatrist, because psychiatrists give the medication, not psychologists, and they do take some medication. Yeah.
Okay. Just wanted to clear that up. I mean,
Yeah.
it's still
Yes,
good, I think, to
yes.
see a psychologist first, and then have the psychologist assess your situation. And if you need something a little bit more, they will then guide you in the right direction.
Here's the question: whether it is BPD or anything else, I know you're a psychologist, but how do we know whether to see a psychologist or a psychiatrist?
Psychologist first. I always say,
Yeah.
psychologist first.
I would imagine it would be psychologist first, because it doesn't involve the chemical, the chemical
And
element.
psychologists don't listen, right? It's the psychiatrists.
Yeah, they just give
Don't
the
listen, they
medication,
just
I
say-
Yeah.
think. Yeah.
Yeah.
They do. So in Singapore, the psychiatrists are the ones that are primarily dishing out the medication.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They don't really spend the hour with you, except for maybe the first session, to find out a little bit more. If it is a catatonic patient, that means someone that is clearly very disordered already. And if catatonic, so they are not moving. They are our SCIDS patients. Sometimes they are in that state of catatonia where they are not moving, they are not listening. They are in a world of their own. Straight to the psychiatrist or the A&E. But when you're functioning, you're able to converse with us, you're not quite sure, you can go to either the psychiatrist or the psychologist. Yeah. If you're just looking at doing a consultation, sure, you can come to a psychologist, but we don't give the medication. If you think that you are very severely depressed, and you are in danger, especially when you are in danger, that's when I say, no, please go to the psychiatrist first. So even if you come to us, I will still say, please go to the psychiatrist. We need the chemicals to come up very quickly so that we even have an access point to work with the thought processes and behaviors. Yeah.
I think y'all should function like, you know what, like GPs. You know why? Because I feel like psychologists and psychiatrists, right, you can never get an appointment right away.
Yes, yeah.
You always have to make an appointment, and sometimes you need to wait for a long
months,
time, you know.
Actually, on that, I was just going to ask on that note, because not only did I have to wait when I came to Singapore to look for a therapist, it was very expensive as well. So I wanted to ask Dr. Geraldine Tan, what you think? So I ended up using an online app. And there are a few. And I this one I read, I think my mom sent me like this, Tom Holland, the one that's dating Zendaya. So he was doing a mental health, like he was advocating for some mental health things. So he had a list of a few apps that you can go onto that are much cheaper. So I was using this app where I could text a therapist anytime. I mean, I won't always have a conversation, but that person can reply at any time. And then I have half-hour sessions that I do with them, but it's text. And for me, that was easier because, you know, I guess in the Asian culture, we don't sit down and talk about our feelings, right? But to text someone about it, I mean, it's pretty day to day. That's what we do all the time. So it ended up being, and it was only like, I think like 150 a month, which is very reasonable compared to like $200 sessions, you know, what's $200 1 hour sessions. So how do you feel like this is something that eases you into therapy, or would you recommend it, or would you say no, just see a human being?
Well, I would prefer to cite my clients so that I can see them, right? But what the methods that you're using, they are all methods that are very, very useful for those that need them, because otherwise there would not be, I mean, everybody have their own preferences and everybody have their own fears, right? So that's why the different methods are really, really useful. There are also online forums or online groups that people can join for a nominal fee, just that you might not know who is on the other side. Like definitely you might not know who is texting you. You might not know who is hosting a group session. Many times these are people that we train. That means these are students that we train. They can be undergraduates, and many of them are collecting hours, and they go onto these platforms to collect hours. So your fees can be reduced quite a lot because we don't pay them a lot. So these organizations don't pay them a lot. But you don't know who you're getting on the other side.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah. See, our case 92 listeners don't know how lucky they are that, you know, any one of them can actually make an appointment and see you, you know.
Yeah.
Because I mean, people like us, we can't see you.
But we can at least advocate.
So quick, call the therapy room and book an appointment with Dr. Jerry and a team.
Yeah, and then text us and let us know what it's like. 88550920.
we have Therapy Tuesdays, which I am very grateful for.
Yes.
Yeah, I wanna bribe Jerry so she won't see me.
She obviously won't take your bribe.
I pay you double, Jerry.
She doesn't need your bribe.
I pay triple. You see me? Okay,
10 years. 10 years.
It's an ethical thing. Yeah.
Talking about bribery, so
Yeah, you would-
Jerry, hold on. We'll go back on the radio,
and
okay?
talk about bribery.
Yeah,
okay?
is this the last one or what?
Yeah.
Last upset. So far, see? No time already. Later, gotta go to your... All right. We're back on The Big Show and The Big Show TV with Dr. Geraldine Tan from the therapy room. All hell has broken loose here in the studio.
We're talking about bribing. You were saying, Dr. Jerry.
Oh my god! On air, okay,
Yes.
okay. But and anyways, so psychologists and doctors are also we are restricted by our own licensing that we cannot receive any gifts. But you can always buy food for us because we love our food, and it goes into the stomach and it comes out.
So we can send you food. Okay, we'll
Yeah,
send
but
you
she
food.
still won't see us individually.
She won't.
Yeah.
See us for a meal.
Yes.
Yeah.
In case you're wondering, because Angel just came in and mentioned bribes. So basically, on the Big Show TV, I was telling Jerry I want to bribe her so that she can, be my therapist. But of course, she will not be moved.
No.
But I think it's a fair point to know that your therapist needs to be objective.
Of course.
That's why they can't be someone that
Your
knows you
friend.
personally.
Yeah.
Yes.
So for those who are thinking about therapy, just go. But
Right.
you can't see your friend who is a therapist. It doesn't work that
Right.
way. Yeah.
It's the
It
same
doesn't
as
work.
if
You
you.
can't see a friend or family who is a therapist.
Yeah.
You can't ask a mother of a child your child cute or not.
Of
Sure
course.
say cute. I make one.
It's the best looking child
I
ever.
see, now I get it. That's why in relationships you can never be totally honest to
Hey.
your wife
Uh-huh.
or your husband because if you say something
This is going south very quickly.
you always have to be on the side of your husband or
Safety.
your wife.
Your partner.
Right?
Yeah.
You cannot be brutally honest because
Wait.
your partner won't be able to take
There's
it
so
and
many-
then boom, it will break up your relationship.
How did we
will-
go from BPD to this?
I don't
There
know.
are some things we know that we don't say, Glenn.
Oh.
Yeah.
I don't condone this.
Don't say.
And that's the problem I think I'm facing. I'm too brutally honest. That's
not a
why
bad
I've been
thing.
divorced twice.
Hey, Glenn's really trying to get his therapy session in right here.
wow.
I think so.
No, I don't. I think you being honest is a
But you
wonderful
see, like
trait.
FD will never say anything bad to his wife.
Yeah, Glenn will
He
just
will-
go all
he
out
will-
and say,
he like many husbands will say the things that their wives want to hear.
so you know the question, honey, do I look fat? And Glenn thinks so. He'll actually go, yeah, I don't think you should wear that.
Yeah.
Exactly. You better stop eating right now.
Oh my goodness!
You see? This is Glenn.
Oh my god!
Dr. Jerry, any final words, Dr. Jerry?
On BPD.
Yeah, not on Glenn.
I'm glad that Glenn is reflecting and thinking, and hopefully there's some shifts, and he can only be a better person.
We can hope,
Touche.
Jerry. We can hope.
Touche. Nicely done.
Okay.
We pray for his improvement on a daily basis.
I love whoever you are, Glenn. Don't change.
Okay, Dr. Jerry.
We love you. We love you. F. Scott Fitzgerald says, to be kind is more important than to be right. Many times what people need is not a brilliant mind that speaks, but a special heart that listens.
Oh my goodness. Oh, a heart that listens.
Do you hear what she said?
What did
Or
you
he said,
think?
to be kind is better than to be right. There you go. Think about that before you speak.
Okay. I will reflect on
Yes.
that. That's for sure. Thank you very much, Jerry.
I'll see all of you. Bye-bye.
Have a good week.
Hey,
Bye.
say bye to Jerry.
Bye,
Your
Jerry.
Daphne's last session with you.
Oh, don't worry, I show up. I love you too. Thank you for showing me and teaching me so many things. I feel like we're gonna start crying. Okay.
All right.
Bye.
We've been speaking to Dr. Geraldine Tan. Up next, Halsey. This is Without Me on Kiss 92.